In the digital age, information spreads like wildfire, but often the truth gets burned in the process. The recent legal case involving Sean Diddy Combs is a perfect example of this phenomenon, where headlines and social media posts have created a swirl of confusion and misinformation. Many people have questions, and the answers they find online are often incomplete or entirely wrong. This has led to the rise of several pervasive myths about what actually happened in the courtroom. A clear, fact-based explainer is necessary to cut through the noise and provide a straightforward understanding of the legal proceedings, the verdict, and the sentence that followed, ensuring that public discourse is grounded in reality rather than rumor. One of the most common myths circulating is that Mr. Combs received no significant punishment for his actions, with some suggesting he walked away with a mere slap on the wrist. This is factually incorrect. The court delivered a substantial penalty. Let's separate myths from documented facts. The culmination of the highly publicized trial arrived on July 2, 2025. The jury, after 3 days of intense deliberations, returned with its verdict. This was a critical moment that would define the legal fate of Sean Combs. The prosecutors had built a case around sweeping and severe allegations. However, the jury did not find that the evidence met the high standard of proof required for a conviction on these counts. As a result, they acquitted Mr. Combs of these most serious allegations, a decision that his defense team immediately hailed as a significant victory. While the acquittals were a major point of focus, the jury's work did not end there. The jury found Mr. Combs guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, a federal crime under the Mann Act, which criminalizes transporting individuals across state lines for such purposes. This nuanced verdict is crucial to understanding the case. He was convicted of serious felonies, but not the ones that carried the lengthiest potential prison sentences. The legal journey for Sean Combs was a lengthy and closely watched process that spanned more than a year. It officially began in September 2024 with his arrest. Following his arrest, Mr. Combs was held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a federal administrative detention facility. This period of pretrial detention meant that he was incarcerated for the entire duration leading up to and during his trial. He was not free on bail, a decision that underscored the seriousness of the charges and the court's assessment of potential risks. The trial commenced in mid-2025, taking place in a federal courthouse in New York City. Over several weeks, the prosecution presented its case, the defense presented its case. The prosecution called witnesses and presented evidence aimed at proving a pattern of criminal behavior. The prosecution focused on racketeering and on sex trafficking. The defense, led by attorney Mark Agnifilo, worked to dismantle the government's case, cross-examining witnesses and challenging the credibility of the evidence. The sentencing hearing on October 4, 2025, was a somber and emotionally charged event. Before imposing the sentence, Judge Arun Subramanian listened to arguments from both the prosecution and the defense. Prosecutors argued for a severe punishment, requesting a sentence of at least 11 years in prison. In stark contrast, the defense team pleaded for leniency, submitting more than 75 letters of support from Mr. Combs' family, friends, former employees. They argued for a much shorter sentence of 14 months, which, with credit for time served, would have resulted in his release by the end of the year. Mr. Combs, who had remained mostly stoic throughout the trial, showed visible emotion during the hearing, particularly when his children spoke and a family video was played. He was given the opportunity to address the court and offered an apology for his actions. After hearing from all sides, Judge Arun Subramanian delivered his decision. He sentenced Sean Combs to 50 months or 4 years and 2 months in federal prison, accompanied by a $500,000 fine. In his remarks, the judge carefully balanced the need for punishment with a message of hope. The final sentence was a deliberate and measured decision, reflecting the judge's attempt to impose a punishment that was just and proportionate to the specific crimes of which Mr. Combs had been convicted by the jury. Immediately following the sentencing, Sean Combs' defense attorney, Mark Agnifilo, quickly announced plans to appeal the sentence. He publicly criticized the judge's decision, calling the 50-month term un-American and fundamentally unfair. Agnifilo specifically pointed to the judge's mention of coercion, arguing that the jury reached a verdict on coercion and found there was not coercion. This perceived discrepancy forms what the defense team believes is a strong basis to appeal. One of the most significant responses came from the legal team of Cassie Ventura, whose attorney said the sentence recognizes the impact of serious offenses and praised Ms. Ventura's bravery and fortitude. During the pre-sentencing phase, Mr. Combs' 27-year-old son, Christian, wrote a passionate letter to the judge. A crucial element of this sentence was the credit for time served. 50 months minus 12 months equals about 38 months remaining, roughly just over 3 years left to serve. The final release date can still be affected by federal prison rules, including potential credits for good behavior that could reduce time. Court records are clear. Sean Combs was acquitted of racketeering and sex trafficking, but convicted on 2 counts related to prostitution. He was sentenced to 50 months in prison and fined $500,000. For now, the verdict and the sentence stand as the definitive judgment of the court system. The case is a reminder of the importance of due process and the need to wait for the full story to emerge before drawing conclusions in a fast-paced, information-saturated world.